माई पेरेंट्स ऑब्वियसली वो चाहते थे कि मैं इंजीनियरिंग करूँ या कुछ प्रोफेशनल बनूँ, एंड बिकॉज दे हैड नेवर सीन एनी too much prosperity or wealth, of course they were biased towards safety, like all parents are, most parents are.
True.
And I entered into this engineering college.
Okay.
I was not interested in this engineering college at all. I was doing computer science engineering, but this was not at all my interest or passion, and the way they were teaching it was completely horrible. And I realized that the school खत्म हुआ था, it was supposed to be, college was supposed to be something different. It
थोड़ा
was
चिल करेंगे, मजे आएंगे, वो सब नहीं था.
the opposite. It was the
This
opposite.
was Delhi.
It was in Gurgaon, yes.
Okay.
Delhi NCR, a private college. I entered ITM Gurgaon and I had that experience. And after 1 year, I decided this is not what I'm doing. Sorry. And I basically then just shifted my study center. कुछ जुगाड़ कर आके I started to focus on bodybuilding, which is what I really wanted to do.
Okay.
And I wanted to compete. I wanted to become the best in the world. And I was like super motivated and dedicated towards.
अच्छा, ये भी नहीं स्टेट वेट खेलना, सीधे वर्ल्ड लेवल.
वर्ल्ड मतलब आई वांटेड टू बी द बेस्ट इन द वर्ल्ड. अब जो वहाँ के जो बेस्ट बॉडी बिल्डर्स थे उस टाइम पे दुनिया के, मैं उनको फैन लेटर्स भी लिखता था.
वाह, क्या बात है.
आई यूज्ड टू राइट लेटर्स टू दिस बॉडी बिल्डर कॉल्ड रॉनी कोलमन, one of the best in the world and quite a legend in the sport, and never replied to me, but I was still really inspired by him, and I was doing the thing properly.
एक तरफा प्यार की कीमत तुम क्या समझो रमेश बाबू, बिल्कुल ये वही है. बहुत बढ़िया.
I was dedicated and I enjoyed it, and I think it might have something to do with that psychology of the childhood being repressed, perhaps. एकदम से एनर्जी थी और वो एनर्जी ठीक जगह चैनलाइज हो गई. May have even been a bit of ADHD, which is probably undiagnosed.
Okay.
कि वो कभी ध्यान नहीं दे पाया मैं स्कूल में, बट जैसे ही मुझे ये मिला इसमें I was able to hyper focus.
Okay.
And I got a sense that okay, this is something that I can excel in. ये excel करना और achievement का एक्सपीरियंस भी नहीं था लाइफ में. इससे मिलना स्टार्ट हुआ. Started to win a few competitions, started to get noticed, and soon enough I was competing for India. And I diversified into two games actually, two sports. Powerlifting also came into the picture.
Okay.
Powerlifting is very closely associated
With weightlifting.
with weightlifting, etc. And so I did the powerlifting thing, and I won the bronze medal for India in the Asian Championship.
Oh भाई.
And I started to compete, और वो करियर मेरा अच्छा जा रहा था.
ये कॉलेज के साथ साथ चल रहा है.
ये कॉलेज वहाँ पे लोग अपना करियर बना रहे हैं, मैं यहाँ पर वो चल रहा है.
बंक मार के बढ़िया चल रहा है. एग्जाम देने चले जाते हैं, डिग्री आनी चाहिए.
एग्जाम देने चले जाते हैं, किसी तरह से सरवाइव कर रहे हैं, बट लाइफ का मिशन कुछ और है.
ठीक.
और वो करते करते फिर करियर अच्छा चलना स्टार्ट हो गया. और देन आई वन मिस्टर दिल्ली कंपटीशन फॉर बॉडी बिल्डिंग ऑल्सो इन माई वेट कैटेगरी, एंड आई वाज सिलेक्टेड फॉर द नेशनल्स एट्सेट्रा. इस दौरान द रग्बी टीम गॉट इंटरेस्टेड इन मी एंड आई हैड कॉन्टैक्ट विद देम. अब इंडिया में रग्बी ज़्यादा नहीं खेलते लोग, बट है थोड़ी बहुत.
अभी आई गेस राहुल रॉय
used to, he's one guy who made it popular, and there are a few celebrities who are, I think Vinod Khanna is also one of the people in the rugby federation or something.
Okay.
So they were so it was there, you know, and so because it's not so popular, it's easy to scale.
Agreed. बिल्कुल agreed.
तो बहुत जल्दी से सिलेक्शन हो गया इंडियन टीम में. एक
आपसे बात करते करते मुझे याद आया, मैं एक बार टेनिस तो चलो ठीक ठाक पॉपुलर गेम है, देयर इज अ स्पोर्ट कॉल्ड सॉफ्ट टेनिस. थोड़ी सी स्पॉन्जी सी बॉल होती है, उससे टेनिस खेलते हैं. किसी को पता भी नहीं था, मैं स्ट्रेट खेल के आया था, क्योंकि एज यूजुअल जब किसी को पता ही नहीं है तो कोई जाता ही नहीं है. 11th-12th में बस घूमने का शौक था, तो चलो इसमें खेलते हुए चले जाते हैं. लेट्स कंटिन्यू विद रग्बी.
Yeah, so rugby is not at all like soft tennis. It's a very
hardcore game.
Yeah, you get hit. You will get hit, and you will break some things if you play it, particularly in India.
Okay.
And so that's what happened. There was this practice match, and I got really badly hit and injured. And the truth be told, it was a fight which erupted in the middle. You know those brawls, sports में brawls नहीं हो जाते एकदम से teams के बीच में. All of a sudden it's chaos. वो हो गया वहाँ. I was not involved, but I was the target. It so happens, it's a small side story. Rugby में there is a position called number 5.
Okay.
The position is called lock.
Okay.
A lock is a person. There are only 2 locks in a team. A lock is a person who hammers the other team and gains territory.
ठीक है.
And he is supposed to be the powerhouse.
ठीक है.
Lock was the position that they selected me in, and these 2 clubs were competing. I was the lock, and our team was winning, and I was able to do that job. And they figured out that this is a problem, and on the field is divided into their territory, your territory.
Okay.
Their team is camped on one side, your team is camped on one side. Something happened where their team was camped. It is called a scrummage,
Okay.
you know, and just people just jostle for the ball.
ठीक है.
It come perfectly legal
Okay.
in rugby. But that erupted into fists. And that erupted into something else. And I do not know what happened. It was over very fast. But it stopped when people saw that there was blood on the ground. And I realized that blood is mine.
Oh बाप रे.
Yeah. I was looking at the floor and I looked at, she was blood dripping down. I don't know where the hell is it coming from. I didn't realize. But it was.
इतना एड्रेनलिन है कि दर्द पता ही नहीं चल रहा.
But it was over in a few seconds. There was no sense of any time. I don't know what I did or what I did, but I knew I got hurt badly. And जब वो खून देखा तो रेफरी ने विसल वगैरह बजा दी और everybody got scared कि यार रग्बी तो ठीक है बट अब तो
थोड़ा लंबा मामला
दिक्कत हो गई. हाँ, पुलिस आएगी, अब हो गया काम सबका आज को. इमीडिएटली हॉस्पिटल लेकर गए. हॉस्पिटल में रियलाइज हुआ कि चीक बोन शैटर हो गई है. हाँ.
ओ भाई.
हाँ, तो चीक बोन शैटर होगी और अंदर इंजरी है. तो डॉक्टर ने फिर अंदर लैसरेट करा वूंड को ताकि ब्लीडिंग रुक जाए. अब ब्लीडिंग तो उसने रोक दी, बट ही सेड कि अब ये ब्लीडिंग इंटरनल है आपकी, आपको रोक तो दी मैंने ब्लीडिंग, बट यू कैन नॉट गेट अप. आप अगर खड़े हो जाओगे या बैठ जाओगे तो वो खुल जाएगा वूंड आपका बिकॉज ऑफ ग्रेविटी. तो यू नीड टू बी सुपाइन, आपको लेटे रहना है अगले 3 हफ्ते तक. देयर इज नो ऑप्शन.
ओके.
क्योंकि इंटरनल बार बार मैं नहीं कर सकता इसको. This put me in a weird situation in life. I was hyperactive. I was doing sports all my life, and all of a sudden, the whole thing came crashing down.
For 3 weeks.
हाँ, for 3 weeks. But more importantly, you know what happened is that day I came home with bandages on my face, blood on my T-shirt, and I saw the look on my parents' face, and I realized, yeah, this is not worth it. Nothing is worth this. The way they looked at me that day, said, आज के बाद नहीं करूँगा इनके साथ में ये. That's what made me shift tracks, you know. And I realized that even bodybuilding or powerlifting, they are not very extremely healthy sports. You must push yourself constantly.
True.
And sooner or later something will snap, right? True. And so your career is as good as one injury away.
True.
And so that became very clear. I said, चलो ठीक है, if not this, then what? अब उस point of time पे मुझ जैसे इंसान करेगा तो करेगा क्या इंडिया में?
क्योंकि इंजीनियरिंग तो अपन ने बस टाइम पास के लिए किया था और पढ़ाई बहुत मतलब बहुत ज़्यादा ऊपर नहीं थे बट ठीक ठाक. यू वर डिसेंट इनफ.
Fine, you know. I would have survived, but I would never have done it at that time, even if somebody had paid me to do it.
ठीक है.
So I was not interested. You know, aversion थी proper पढ़ाई से तो.
यार आपसे ना मैं इतना रिलेट कर सकता हूँ पता नहीं क्यों. पढ़ने में बुरे नहीं थे लेकिन पढ़ना नहीं है.
पढ़ना
Simple.
नहीं है.
नहीं पढ़ना.
There is, I know what you mean. I think a certain type of personality then gets drawn to these different careers away from the mainstream.
Agreed.
Yours is also like that.
Agreed. I still study. ऐसा नहीं कि मुझे पढ़ाई से प्रॉब्लम है बट जस्ट फॉर द सेक ऑफ अ कॉम्पिटिशन एंड ये आगे बढ़ना मैं नंबर 1 तू नंबर 2 मुझे वो नहीं करना. आप मुझे पढ़ाओ, बहुत इज्जत से पढ़ूंगा, रोज टेस्ट दूंगा, मुझे कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं. लेकिन ये साल में 1 दिन का टेस्ट है और वो 364 दिन बैठ गया बस मैं किए जा रहे हैं, वो मतलब मुझे लॉजिकल नहीं लगता.
Got it. That वो ऊपर से प्रेशर डाल देते हैं ना, it destroys the beauty of it.
True.
You start enjoying it.
True.
And I resented the authority also. Unnecessary की authority मेरे पे क्यों डाला? I had a weird sense of who are you to tell me what I should be doing. I have an innate sense of right or wrong. I'm not an idiot. Even though I'm learning, but I do not need to be told that I need to do this or that. Okay. I had that confidence at that time. I don't know why. So all this happened, and I realized UPSC is one option. That is एक बहुत बड़ा एग्जाम होता है कोई, उसको अब अगर आप कर लो तो आप कुछ बन जाते हो और जितने भी मेरे पापा हैं वो धुल जाएंगे. This was the assumption. See, that is the reason I started the UPSC journey, and I had some sense of what it was, but not too much.
Okay.
I didn't know what exactly it is. I did not know exactly what is the IAS, IPS, IRS, what happens when you get. I knew it is something big. I knew it's government servant. I didn't know what the government servant is supposed to do anyway. Started it and just picked up the phone one day and called this coaching center, Vajira, one of the biggest ones. Yeah, offline. And I had just spoke to them and I said, "Sir, ऐसे तैयारी कराते हो आप?" So they said,
कराते हो? हमने हमारा पूरा करोल बाग है भाई जी हमारा.
हाँ, the other person on the other line was very polite. He said, हाँ कराते हैं, आप आ जाइए. Then you come on to this metro station and here, and I went there and I'm not kidding. There was a line of people on the street and I asked people, why are you standing? They are standing to give the fees, to get admitted. I said, यहाँ तो कंपटीशन स्टार्ट भी नहीं हुआ और कंपटीशन में हिस्सा लेने के लिए कंपटीशन
और
है.
ये पूरे इंडिया का एक सेक्टर है, बाकी तो आप भूल ही जाओ.
I got admission in that institute, but I then started to sit in the classes and started to sit in classes. I got nothing. In those classes, I realized I am nowhere in this crowd. And there's somebody, कोई IIT से बैठा हुआ है मेरे बगल में, कोई AIM से है, you know, कोई IIM से है, मैं यहाँ पे जिम में बॉडी बिल्डर I'm sitting in that classroom, you know, looking completely out of place and feeling out of place also, because this is not what I was supposed to be doing in life. But then something weird happened and I started to enjoy it. This preparation thing, the intellectual work itself. Maybe it was because nobody was on my head telling me ये करना है वो करना है. मुझे मज़ा आने लग गया उसमें थोड़ी देर में और मुझे काफ़ी इंटरेस्ट जाग गया. इनफैक्ट इतना इंटरेस्ट जाग गया कि मुझे लगा कि यार ये तो पहले क्यों नहीं बताया मुझे किसी ने. तो बहुत बढ़िया चीज़ है.
कौन से सब्जेक्ट सबसे पसंद आते थे?
साइकोलॉजी.
अच्छा. और उससे कोई दूर दूर तक ना आता नहीं था?
नहीं. Never had the experience of it and never studied it. Never allowed to study really, because when 10वीं 12वीं में जब चूज़ करना होता है तो साइंस चूज़ कराया गया मुझसे. मैंने तो बोला था ह्यूमैनिटीज़ चाहिए,
लेकिन वो नहीं मिलता है.
नहीं, साइंस. तो अल्टीमेटली घूम फिर के ह्यूमैनिटीज़ पे ही आए और वहीं दिमाग चला और वहीं से सब कुछ समझ में आने लगा. और मुझे लगा कि ये एग्ज़ाम तो चलो एक चीज़ है, इसमें पावर है, इसमें लाइफ के आंसर्स हैं जो मेरे को अभी तक किसी ने नहीं दिए, ये ना टीचर्स ने ना मेरे पेरेंट्स ने. तो इसकी सुनता हूँ ना मैं एक बारी. लेट मी सी what all is there, and so once you start to explore that, you realize that this is infinite. You cannot accumulate enough knowledge to know everything, but it's a great addiction to have.
True.
You know, one, it's cheap, highly portable, खर्चा कुछ होता नहीं है, जितना करोगे उतना बेटर हो जाओगे और बाकी साइड इफेक्ट्स इसके सारे पॉजिटिव हैं. तो मैंने इसकी एडिक्शन पाल ली फिर.
बहुत बढ़िया.
And I got into it, like seriously, and I dedicated myself to it honestly, and I enjoyed it with a secondary focus on the exam.
अच्छा.
हाँ, एग्जाम है ठीक है, बट अब ये एक सिस्टम
बट
चला
सिर्फ
हुआ है.
एक सब्जेक्ट के बेस पे तो नहीं होता होगा ना, बाकी भी इन जनरल आप एंजॉय करते ही होगे, पढ़ते ही
बिल्कुल.
होगे.
क्यूरियोसिटी जाग गई ना, दुनिया में हो क्या रहा है, what is going on. When people think the way, why do they think this way? Why was I not able to study? Why were my parents telling me these things? What is this resentment authority? Where is this drive coming from? There was a whole chapter in psychology on motivation, on personality. It gave me more answers in 5 days than I gained in 15 years of my life. I said, अच्छा
ये होता है.
ये हो रहा होगा मेरे साथ. You know, it gave me a language I didn't have, a vocabulary to explain behavior,
Makes sense.
to explain thoughts, to explain mental events, which I never had the perfect labels for. But I knew that the power is coming from there. Drive is a psychological phenomena.
True.
Motivation is also that. Focus is also that. Curiosity, for that matter. Creativity. All of these things I...
Psychological.
हाँ, and I read the level to which it has already been deciphered. I said, this is what I need to know first. And so I started to do history also like that. That all right, tell me about history. What do I need to know? Why do I need to know it? अच्छा, तो कोई नॉन कोऑपरेशन मूवमेंट के बारे में मैं पढ़ रहा हूँ. So I stopped to treat it just as that event, and I started to think and engage with the text, and I started to ask myself, ठीक है, अगर ये इवेंट वहाँ हुआ था, इसका कोई पैरेलल अभी की डेट में है? अच्छा, जो प्रोटेस्ट हो रहे हैं तो वो शायद इस टाइप का तो नहीं था. अच्छा, उस वक्त ब्रिटिश सरकार थी तो इनको ज़्यादा करना पड़ा होगा, उस वक्त ये माहौल होगा. एंड आई स्टार्टेड टू connect things.
Okay.
What is, I think, called the working knowledge of anything.
You were drawing parallels.
Connecting it, processing it deeply,
Okay.
personally invested in it, and trying to connect everything to real life. And that led to me clearing the exam, fundamentally.
Okay.
I cleared the written, easy. I had some trouble in the interview, but then cleared it, got through, came into the IRS, and the whole new chapter of life started.